And welcome back to Houston Newsmakers. I'm talking with Congressman Michael McCaul, the representative from the 10th Congressional District. We're talking about a number of things that you're involved in, and one of them deals with childhood cancer. Talk about the latest efforts you've done in that, which really impacts a lot of people in our region and across the country.
Well, you know, I started the caucus 15 years ago because people, you know, cancer, big issue, but the children were not really given attention. And I've elevated that issue. We passed several bills, including, you know, one that led to Dr. Allison at MD Anderson using our bill to get approval from the FDA on immunotherapy, which is, you know, huge. I work very closely with Texas Children's Hospital and MD Anderson. And in fact, Texas Children's has an overseas operation in Botswana, believe it or not. In Africa, 90% of cases are you know, mortality rate that could be easily cured. And so what we're trying to do is bring the you know, medical technology information we have and apply it over there where we can save lives. And I passed this bill in Congress, and we're saving lives in Africa.
So I want to talk about former President Trump. Another week, we see the former president with another indictment against him, this time in Georgia for his alleged role in trying to change the result of the 2020 election in that win. How difficult does his indictment challenges make it for your party and for attention to be placed on things that are actually important?
Well, you know, I mean, I had lunch. You know, I've never been to Maine, but I was in Kennebunkport, had lunch with President Bush, Laura, and Linda, my wife, and myself. And it was sort of a different time, a time of civility and respect in politics. And I worry for the country that that's missing right now. I think we need to get back to that. These indictments, I will tell you this, I was a federal prosecutor, public integrity section, Maine Justice. I think the local DAs, a little more politically driven. The federal indictments, I think, are more problematic. And, you know, I was there January 6th. They tried to break my office door down. All I had was a Louisville Slugger baseball bat to protect myself. And I was going to go out swinging if they came in. It was a bad day for America. And, you know, I think the problem is politically the double standard, I think. Hunter Biden, for instance, you know, and all these allegations. It was so bad that a federal judge overturned the plea agreement that the prosecutors had with Hunter Biden's defense team. Why? Because the whistleblower came in talking about all this money coming from foreign adversary nations like China, Russia, you know, Kazakhstan, and, you know, to influence. And there's something here. And I think my constituents, they see it as a double standard. They don't see the Justice Department, I served there for many years, great men and women, by the way, with great integrity.
They don't see a Hunter Biden possibility on the same level with the possibility of somebody who's accused of trying to overthrow the foundation of our democracy.
Yeah.
Do they? They see those as similar?
You know, I think, look, if you're conspiring to manufacture electoral ballots falsified to overthrow an election, that's pretty serious in my judgment. But you know, we're in a very political world now, and I think that's important. But also, it's also important when, you know, China is putting tens of millions of dollars into shell corporations that are going to the Biden family, you know, to advance their agenda. And as the chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, that disturbs me greatly because of the foreign policy implications.
So you know what happens is that with so much the anger that comes from both sides on this whole thing, they dig in deep. It's difficult to believe anything that comes out because it's colored with all kinds of stuff that's not factual in the implications when the people come out and rage in the committees and that sort of thing. How do you get through with that? I mean, how do you get past that and make sure that things that you say and other people in Congress say can be believed as something that should be followed up with? Because you said a couple of different things there about financing from foreign governments. I need to see the facts on that. Is that what you're trying to dig up?
That's right. I mean, we need to see the facts about, follow the money. When I was a federal prosecutor, follow the money. What is that all about? And we need to get to the bottom of that as well. And, I'll tell you, I have an oversight responsibility on Afghanistan, the fall of Afghanistan and how badly that went. And what's interesting is when Afghanistan fell, what I saw was satellite imagery of the Russian Federation moving to Ukraine, and also Chairman Xi aligning himself with Putin to attack the Pacific. So going back to my dad's war again, the B-17 bombardier hero for me, they liberated Europe and the Pacific, and now we have a foreign policy that I quite frankly find threatening to Europe and the Pacific, what the greatest generation liberated.
We'll have to hold it there. We're going to start. We have the Houston Newsmakers session. We'll continue our conversation. Go to the Newsmakers page on click2houston.com. Just ahead, we're going to talk with Brian Rice and what was happening with not only the legal ramifications with Mr. Trump, but also the guilty verdict for A.J. Armstrong.